Alright, so this is the third video I'm going to make. I did these a little bit out of order, but that's alright. So this is learn about my expectations when you communicate with me. Um, and so we'll just open this up. We're in the assignments tab in Canvas. So give it a second to load. So Dr. Insall has what he says here is make a brief video showing your face while you explain your understanding of these expected communication methods and how they apply to our class and your assignments in this class. So you have provided, Dr. Insall has provided a link to this. So here's the communication. Comes up with this. So the first one is just in general. It's this first paragraph right here. Basically, it just goes over that we're going to be using English embedded with mathematics. I love that you used the word embedded there. That's exactly what we're doing. And we are expected to use English and mathematics when we answer or ask questions in the course. For notations of our text or notations that is developed in class or in the notes. Basically, this just says when you ask questions, you're expected to use English and mathematics, and you're supposed to include any notation, words, terms, or symbols that have been presented or developed in class or in our textbook or in our notes. Moreover, this notation or term or word, if it has not already been provided, please define it or explain your notation to your peers or your instructor. This will be specifically useful in our presentations that we do or any of our published work. In published work or papers, usually it's like within the second or third page, depending how your paper's laid out, what format you're using. For slides, it's usually right after you've developed what your concept's going to be. So you go over what the project is or what the presentation is, and then you go over the notation that you'll be using to do that. And then this one is, the second part of this is be polite and professional. I think that goes without saying. We don't need to talk over each other or interrupt each other. When you interrupt each other, basically you take the speaker out of their train of thought. And sometimes, depending on the person, it can be hard for them to get back to where they were going originally. Also, you may agree with the person at the end of what they're saying, but not necessarily at the beginning. So you need to let them get their point across so that you can decide if you have a question about it or not. So that's just general professionalism and being polite. Communication and email messages is the second part of this. I will probably be using this Dr. Insall. Hope I'm saying that right. I respect the PhD. It's a big deal. Hopefully, maybe at some point in my life I'll get one in mathematics. I'm thinking my first PhD, if I go that far, will be in engineering though. I agree that just saying, hey, Insall or professor is kind of rude. Typically, if I don't know if you have a doctorate or I don't know you professionally or otherwise, I may not say your name and try to word the conversation without doing that until I can find the appropriate level of respect for you. But in this case, you already told us, so it's fine with me. I prefer, if you use Mr. Wise is fine. Anthony is fine as well. Be polite. This goes without saying, like I said. But this also spills over into email messages, and I think that's pretty much what the rest of this is about. Be patient because you get a lot of emails from us. You're going to have a lot of videos in your inbox. You're going to have a lot of things going on. So your bandwidth is, to use a little foreshadowing on something else I'm going to show, is going to be pretty maxed out just from all the students in your course this summer. And specifically, this course is like every day. So you're going to have a lot of things going on. This last one is the use reasonable netiquette. I didn't know what that was. I'd never heard that term. Makes perfect sense though, right? So I looked it up. Here are the rules. Basically, these are the core rules of netiquette. Remember the human. Everybody's a human. Respect them. They have feelings, and you can hurt those feelings. You can be impatient with them, and you'll make them frustrated. So, just remember that everybody that you're dealing with as a person. Number 2 is adhere to the same standards of behavior online that you follow in real life. This just, to me, is just be a real person. I mean, just, if you wouldn't say it, then don't write it in an email. Number 3 is remember where you are in cyberspace. The best parallel for this is, it says etiquette varies from domain, but a lot of us have been in cultural situations that require a different set of etiquette rules, and so that's basically what this is saying. If you're in a certain domain or a certain place on the internet and you're responding, there may be certain cultural or etiquette rules that apply specifically to that domain, and you have to adhere to them. So, and then this last one is respect other people's time, which is self-explanatory, and bandwidth, which is something we forget about. It's the summer. There's a lot of things going on in July, holidays and family and all that kind of thing. So just respect that people have things going on, work and family and life. I actually don't agree with this one, because sometimes you can ask a stupid question and it will make the person think about why they are presenting their material in the way that they are. Sometimes it's a really obvious question that may seem like a stupid question, but really drives a deeper question, or drives discussion that leads to a deeper question. So this one's not necessarily, I think, accurate, but anyways. And then the last one is just communicate clearly. I like to type all of my stuff in Word. You can hit Alt and then the plus equals sign, and it gives you the equation box, and then you can write probably 90% of the symbols and equations that you want in there. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but I've gotten used to it, and my handwriting's bad enough that that Word really saves me a lot of heartache. For tests and things we have to handwrite, typically I do one-sided, and then I write it all out in pencil on one sheet, and then I copy it over in a darker ink so that it'll scan correctly. So, and then I always proof it just to make sure that my solutions and my work are legible. So, and then I agree with this one. I used to not, but I agree with this. Just because you wrote the answer doesn't mean the professor knows how you got there. And really, we're in school to learn, and we're learning processes, and we're learning how to get to the solution just as much as getting the right solution. So this hits the nail on the head. Just writing the answer is not the same as communicating your solution. When you communicate your solution, you are providing the process to the instructor and your thought process to get there. Because sometimes you can get the right answer, but do it the wrong way, and do it in a way that is not repeatable. So that's it for communication. I hope that covers everything that you wanted, Dr. Insall. If not, shoot me an email, and I'll do it again. Thanks.